Hiya folks, my name's David, and in this one I'm going to build what can only be described as a magical mushroom forest sprite. I'll start off by making my armature wire, which I know, it's terrible. I'm still working on those skills as a beginner sculptor. This is more of a sharing video than any kind of tutorial. I don't want to go into any, like, as if I know what I'm talking about. I really don't. I have bought books on the subject, wherever they are. How to focus. I can't find it. But yeah, it's a learning journey for me. So, here it is. Beginner's Guide to Sculpting Characters in Clay. So I'll see where I can get with that. I mean, I've heard it's not about the tools you got, it's about the amount of time and practice you put into it, what makes it makes you a good crafter with it. So I mean, I practice behind the scenes as well. I don't do it every video, it's just an idea that I had. Like with anything, practice comes perfect, and it's my fond hope to be like one of these guys I do see on this platform doing what they do. They're awesome, I think. Cast my own stuff, just have something to be proud of. I try to keep this one to scale, as if it's something you would find, because generally the size of it, it's going to be the size of a mushrooms come in all different shapes and sizes. I mean, I've seen one. It confused me because there's a picture of it. It's in America. I think it might be Oregon or something, and he had this massive one like the size of a house. I was like, no, they never get that big. And I had to look it up, and it turned out it was a hoax picture. Just type in world's biggest mushroom and you'll see. It's 10 kilometers, but as a root system underground, 10 square kilometers. And but there are some pretty big ones. The biggest edible one is about a meter. I don't know about unedible, but that's big. But we're not going for 1 meter. We're going for like 15 to 20 centimeters high, and I'm just going to make him all cutesy and see where I can get in terms of practicing sculpting. So for this, we're using our aluminium armature wire, super sculpted, you can see. And a few various DIY tools, drills, saws, this, that and the other. I do in fact rework on these eyes, and as I was building through this project, I came across like how people, what is it, make like doll's eyes and stuff like that. And I sort of added my own little twist to it, and they came out really nice. You'd probably tell by the thumbnail, but we'll get to that in a bit. After doing all the bits to his head, I paintbrush on isopropyl alcohol. With that, I've baked the head alone and left the body separate. I did have a few problems trying to get his, because he was top heavy, his head, and it was like, how the hell am I going to do this? I wanted to give him his base, give him a few little tiny mushrooms in and around him, just to sell that theme of like he's not alone. The idea in my head was he's like, you know, magic fantasy forest type deal. I don't know if it's enchanted and everything's full of life, and even the mushrooms have got little inner beings in them that eventually grow out of themselves and run off into the forest, I guess. Mask it off as to keep that nice edge for the presentation. I used Daz air drying clay, sort of give the base a bit of volume. Stick, these are actual tree barks, but they've been like, I don't know, doused in a chemical, but they are a bit brittle to touch, like stuff falls off them. To get around that, I'll give it a coat of Mod Podge, let it dry, and then work around the rest of the base. I drew out the irises, because at this point I'd seen that video. Permanently fix with a hot glue gun the bark as if he's growing out of them. Give the base a bit more bark around it after adding PVA glue, then an even smaller version of bark. Give him a few dry test bits, drill out a hole to pin him, just for more stability. I do build this up with epoxy putty at some point. Again, I'm watching this the same as you guys, just to cover it. Drill a hole in his back so I can start adding them mushrooms. There were two either side of him. I probably would have gone a different way looking back at it now. I would have had that sort of longer one slightly more in front of him. And with that, it's ready for painting. This prime surface, so this is good for keeping it all clean. The surface gets rid of any dust, any residue. Here, there was a few cracks which started to appear, and it was getting on my nerves because I had to do this throughout painting it. They kept showing up around his arms, so it weren't thoroughly dry. I'll have to keep an eye on that with future builds. I'm thinking of switching to oil-based clay, I think it is, where it sort of remains, you know, so then I can go over to the what do you call it? Doing my own castings and stuff like that, and then you just reuse it. You know, you got your casting of it, it'll never go away, and you can just reuse. I suppose it's kind of cheaper as well when you look at it, but it seems to be the go-to for casting. I did the base with various browns, working up from dark to light. for all the basing, airbrush, and then I started using a sponge to get a mottled sort of effect. Again, you can probably see he comes out like a type of Smurf mushroom because he's blue. I thought pink and the blues worked well together. It didn't come out the way I wanted it to, but I kind of had no choice. I kind of had to stick and work with what base colours I used. And all I kept doing with this cap was just adding more and more white to each layer and focusing it more to the top of the cap. All the mushrooms, the little ones, are painted the same as his cap and sort of face. They're similar colours. The eyes. So as you've seen before, I drilled out with my Dremel the irises. They're a bit wonky, but I was actually going to just paint the strands in rather than do this. Paint the iris strands in and the pupil and whatnot. Used epoxy putty so it would dry on its own. Sculpted out the details of the eye, and then I thought I'd go for like a bright green or brightish green. It actually came out quite normal, if I'm honest, but I did want it to go more bright. Like his eyes are popping out of his head. Do you know what I mean? I wanted them looking like he's about ready to detach from his base or stem or whatever you call the base of the mushroom and run off and go play havoc with whatever sprites are in the forest. Doing all the detail, then I coat it, just a light coating of all around the eyeball, everywhere, inside out, with a UV resin. And then I do like 2 layers. I level it out with the UV resin because you get bubbles in UV resin. I was picking them out quite a bit before I put it under the UV light. And then I did the dome one. I screwed up a little bit on his, I don't know, you'd be looking at the left eye. Sort of went over his iris area what I cut into. I'm actually doing the hand thing here, iris. The cap, originally these were supposed to be, there was like S-shaped, but then I went for teardrop instead. The ones on his body, they're just like monster inkish. Just, I didn't want to go round, I didn't want to go teardrop. Just a bit of difference, but they are pretty much the same colours. I had a bit of basing flock, as if it's got a bit of moss on it. Glue it all off. Tried some actual leaves from outside in, I think it's called Natural Protection or Preserver, somewhere. I cannot see it. I don't want to get up from here. You let it dry for 24 hours and it kills all the bacteria and it preserves the plant and sort of toughens it a little bit. How long they'll last, your guess is as good as mine, but I did my due diligence and 24 hours, then put it on a cloth, let them dry out naturally. And they was pretty tough. It was a bit shiny, but they was a bit tough. But bendable as well, they weren't brittle. And just added them with PVA glue just to sell the scene. Thanks for tuning in. I hope you enjoyed the video. Subscribe, share, like, tell your gram. And cheers. Bye guys.